Alright, you've heard it a million times. Napoleon was short. We've all laughed about it. But is it actually true? Spoiler, nope, not even close. So let's talk about this ridiculous myth that has been passed around for centuries. Napoleon Bonaparte, the French emperor who supposedly had a Napoleon complex. You know, the small guy with a big ego? But here's the thing, Napoleon wasn't even short.
What?
I mean, if you've been thinking Napoleon was like 5 feet tall, let me tell you, he was average height for his time. Here's the deal. Napoleon was about 5'6" to 5'7". That's pretty average, even for a French guy back in the 1800s. So where did this whole Napoleon was tiny thing come from? Well, it's a combination of bad math and British propaganda. Yep, blame the Brits. See, back in Napoleon's day, the French used a completely different measurement system. So when the Brits reported his height, they didn't convert it properly. They basically got it wrong, and voila. We got this image of Napoleon as this tiny little angry man. And guess who was happy to spread that narrative? The British. They had a whole Napoleon is a joke thing going on because, you know, they were at war with him. Instead of being like, wow, Napoleon is a military genius, the Brits were like, nah, let's make him look like a grumpy little guy who can't reach the top shelf. So why did it stick? Well, when you've got British political cartoons making fun of Napoleon and calling him short, people just believed it. It became this iconic image, and honestly, it just stuck. The more you repeat something, the more it becomes fact, right? Can you believe it? A regular height guy with a regular ego. He didn't even need to compensate with extra aggression. His temper? Oh, that's all him, but it wasn't because he was short. Dude was just passionate. Like we all are when we're trying to change the world. Seriously. Now, I'm not saying Napoleon didn't have his flaws. He was ambitious, ruthless, and he could definitely be aggressive. But the idea that he was out there stomping around, mad because he was short? Nah, just some good old myth-making. Want a little plot twist? Napoleon wasn't even the shortest leader of his time. Tsar Alexander I of Russia? He was shorter. But you don't hear about his height being a big deal, right? Nope. He was just another tall guy hanging out with Napoleon, until they weren't. But here's where the story gets even better. Napoleon was actually surrounded by a bunch of very tall soldiers in his imperial guard. I mean, these guys were seriously giants compared to him. So yeah, next to them, Napoleon might have looked a little shorter. But if you put him next to average French guys, he was pretty much the same height. But hey, it's all about perspective, right? Honestly, I can just imagine Napoleon in his day like, yeah, I'm gonna change the world and rewrite history. But first, I need to find a ladder to get that bottle off the top shelf. Anyway, even though this whole short Napoleon thing was based on a mix-up with measurements and British trolling, it's still a widely believed myth. People still associate his height with his personality, but really, Napoleon's genius wasn't in his height. It was in his strategy, his leadership, and his ability to completely transform Europe. Let's be real, Napoleon didn't need to be taller to become one of the most influential figures in history. The dude knew how to get stuff done. So next time someone says, Napoleon was short, you can be like, actually no, he was 5'6", and he changed the world. Alright, that's it for today's myth-busting history lesson. If you learned something new, hit that like button, subscribe for more, and share this with your friends, especially the ones who still think Napoleon was tiny.